Are you one of these professionals who think that there are hard skills and soft skills, and that the soft skills are not worth investing time in because it's those hard skills that give you the results that you need? Well, stick with me, because this week I'm going to continue our conversation and help us to understand that that is the furthest from the truth. Hi, this is Grant Herbert, VUCA Leadership and Sustainable Performance Coach, and today I want to continue our conversation around building up our identity and becoming who we need to be so that we can get what it is that we're going after in our career, in our life, by helping you to understand emotional intelligence. Last week we talked about the fact that it's not just about your IQ, your technical ability. There is a greater intelligence, if you will, that helps us to be able to navigate this thing called life, particularly when there's people involved. So what we want to do now is unpack what emotional intelligence really is and what it isn't. I started in this episode by talking about that term that gets thrown around called soft skills. It's the warm and fuzzies. It's the skills that are nice to have. But not very often do I find that people are developing those skills. The reason is that we have a misconception about their value and about the place that they play in our personal and our professional development. My own experience is that emotional intelligence was not something that we ever talked about. In fact, until about 15 years ago, when I started working in this field, I didn't know there was such a thing. What I did know, though, is that throughout my military, my corporate career, I didn't have any. And I realized that this was the missing element for me in my career, where I was always really good technically, but I didn't get on with myself and I didn't get on with people. Emotional intelligence is the ability to be aware emotionally, to know in the moment what the sensations, those physiological emotions, are trying to tell us. And then to be able to use that information to navigate the emotion in a healthy way that brings about positive feelings and positive results. I work in the area of emotional and social intelligence, and moving forward, we'll get into the social intelligence as well. And that's all about being able to understand what might be going on in another person and then using that to be able to navigate the relationship. But for now, I want to focus on you. I want to focus on those competencies that help you to be able to navigate your own emotions. Last week, we talked about the fact that emotions are misunderstood. People think that I need to manage my emotions. No, we need to manage the response to the emotion. Emotions are not something to leave at the door when you come to work. They are a part of who you are. You are an emotional being. In the emotional intelligence work that I do, there are two quadrants that we work in. The first one is self-awareness. This is the ability to know what's going on in the moment, to be able to notice the sensations, to be able to give them a name as a feeling, and then to navigate from there. So self-awareness contains three particular areas that we need to work on. When we're self-aware, we know what's going on. It's like in psychology, there's that really great 4 levels of competence. And the language is so encouraging. The first thing is that we have an unconscious incompetence. What that really means is you don't know that you don't know. And I find that in my own experience, when I first was exposed to emotional intelligence, and in the experience of everyone that I work with, that really fits with emotions. If I don't know what I'm experiencing, then how am I supposed to navigate it in a particular way using a strategy that's going to give a good result? So self-awareness contains emotional self-awareness, the ability to be able to know which emotion you are experiencing in a particular moment. It's also about accurate self-assessment, being able to have a real understanding of where your levels of competency are in the 13 competencies of emotional intelligence in a way that goes beyond thinking that you're more than where you are to please others, and also to go beyond where you think you're not. The third area is personal power. Personal power is your inner self-confidence, the ability to know that you've got everything within you and around you to get through life. These 3 competencies of self-awareness is where we start. Then we move into the quadrant of self-management. Self-management is that second part, that use what you learn to be able to navigate the emotion. In this quadrant, there are 10 areas that we can work on. One of those in particular is behavioral self-control, being able to take what the emotion is telling us and then be able to control and manage or regulate where we allow the thoughts to go and therefore where we allow the behavior to go. It's being able to direct the emotions and leverage their power rather than have them be something that holds us back. So they are the 2 areas that we need to be able to work in. And indeed, in self-management, there are another 9 competencies. And over the coming weeks, we're going to step through a lot of those. But for now, I want you to understand a couple of things. One, this is a vital area of your development. If you think back to the conflict, the challenges that you've gone through over the last little while, I will guarantee that emotions comes into it, being taken off track from the logic and experiencing an unhealthy journey through your emotions. The second thing is that we need to start with awareness, and then we need to be able to have strategies to navigate what that awareness tells us. Emotional intelligence is the ability to be aware and then to manage the response. And over the next few weeks, we're going to continue to work through and get a greater understanding of this wonderful intelligence and the competencies that goes with it. When you're able to harness the power of your emotions and use them in a way that helps you to navigate down a healthy path of behavior, you're going to get the results that you want much more quickly. Well, that's it from me for another week. Join me again next week as we continue this conversation and get into that first area of self-awareness. I'll see you then.